Let's talk about Diablo. So I did watch some videos on this too as well. And this is the reason why I brought this forward, is because I saw videos on this, okay? So it's not the horse itself is $65, to be clear. There is a bundle that you purchase, and the bundle is $65. So if you're I'm trying to find the full bundle details. Where is it?
I think you just get 7,000 platinum in the horse.
Here it
I
is.
think that's it.
So here's what you get from the Vitrios Scourge pack. Manifest crystalline blah 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 blah. A crystal and bone bundle containing the crystal clad mount, which is this crystal and bone cage mount armor. Oh yeah, you get the mount, the armor. 2 mount trophies and 7,000 platinum. 7,000 7,200 platinum costs $65 when bought on its own. But I don't think you can just buy the mount by itself. I think you have to do this bundle.
The only way to get those items is to buy this bundle.
So that's why people are saying it's a $65 mount. I mean, it's not. The mount itself is not the $65, but you have to fork over $65 to get it. And I get you get platinum in there, but what if I just want the mount? What if I just want the mount and the armor?
Then go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's exactly what Blizzard said. Blizzard and Activision and whoever, Microsoft, maybe, I don't know, whoever did it is like, yeah, screw you. I'm sure this was like a pre-planned Activision, Bobby Kotick, I need a 5th yacht kind of action. It's like, well, let's sell the coolest armor possible and make them pay $65 for it. Yeah, it's wild how we had $2 controversial horse armors in Oblivion, and now we have a $65 bundle to get probably one of the coolest mounts you will see in Diablo.
Yep.
If not the coolest. So people are just like, well, why can't I just buy them out? So to me, this is one of those. It's another scummy thing. I don't. It's not the same, but I feel like it's in the same vein of you get the freaking mobile games that are like, in order to get 600 gems, you have to pay. You have to actually buy a bundle of these 600 gems for $10. You can't just buy a 1-to-1 for the gems. You have to buy the bundles. But our skin's actually 700 gems. It's like the same kind of tactics.
Have to do that with it. I'm sure you have to do that with this. I'm sure you don't have to pay $65 for this. Mm-hmm. You have to buy platinum first, and then you can buy this bundle with the platinum that you get, and then you get 7,000 platinum back when you buy the bundle.
Yeah, so it's just like they said here, 7,200 platinum costs $64.97 when bought on its own via the denominations Blizzard provides. If you're going to buy $65 worth of platinum anyway, some argue, then the Scourge mount is a free add-on. Or consider another way, the $65 bundle offers $83 of value if we consider previous Diablo mounts have cost up to $18 each. But I still don't like it. I don't like it. It smells the same to me. It's the same kind of tactic.
It's stinky. It's stinky. That's for sure.
It stinks the same way. I know you could make an argument of like, oh, it's actually a better value if you think about. But I don't want to spend $65. Maybe I only want the mount. I'll pay $15. Maybe I want to
spend $10 to $15 and just buy the mount.
And just buy the mount.
And
I don't want the other
7,000 platinum.
Right. I don't want the other platinum. I don't need it. I'm not looking for it. It stinks the same way. You can sell the argument to me in any way, shape, or form. It still stinks. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think it's scummy still, even if someone logics around me on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I'll use the analogy that I continue using for these like mobile game like cash shops and stuff like that. But imagine, you went to the supermarket, and in order to buy chicken, you had to also buy steak and shrimp and Doritos and ice cream. Like
Yeah,
in
you
order
all
to
this
buy
stuff,
the
yeah.
only way to buy chicken that you want to make chicken with is to buy a bundle that had chicken in it that has a bunch of other stuff in it
Right.
that you don't fucking want.
Yeah, you don't want
Like,
the other stuff. You're like, I don't need all this. I just need this one thing. And they're like, well, too
and
bad.
that's not even considering the fact that also in this supermarket, in order to buy stuff in this supermarket, you can only buy fun buck dollars that can only be spent at this supermarket, and they only come in denominations of like 5, 10, 25, 50, 75, and 100.
Mhm.
So, and this bundle cost 65, but you can only buy a $75 bundle, so you have 10 left over. You have 10 fun bucks left over.
And it's not helpful in any other store. It is only this store. Yeah. It smells that way. It just stinks the same. And I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it either, but again, at least I don't know. It's a cool cosmetic. I'll agree, and like I mean,
Yeah,
I appreciate that they're still only selling cosmetics, right? Like, I will give them that. Some of their cosmetics are cool. There's some like cool town portal cosmetics they've been selling recently that are like pretty cool, and would I like to have it? Yeah, but I'm not gonna spend $20 on a town portal cosmetic.
Right,
so
right.
you know, whatever. You just have to easier said than done. But you just have to get past the FOMO and just be like, yeah, I'm not gonna spend $20 on that because it's not worth it. Like,
yeah, I'm always concerned about the slippery slope of,
yeah,
okay, we have the early access now in games. Every major game that known to man now is doing, you can log in 3 days early if you pay us an extra $10 and we'll give you some other stuff too. I'm not saying they're just going to keep doing this for everything, but like, okay, let's say the mount sells super well. They actually sell a lot of these bundles. They get the platinum. You can use the platinum any way you want, but what stops them from going, okay, well, why aren't we just bundling everything now? Why aren't we just, see this really cool armor? You have to buy $65 worth of platinum too. Like, what? I just worry, like, what sort of stops them from going, well, you know, there's that one guy in the suit. He's watching this. He's on his Excel spreadsheet, and he's like, that sold really well. In fact, that was one of the best-selling ideas we've ever had. And he tells that to the Bobby Kotick of the company. And they go, good idea. Tell all the teams that they have to start doing bundles now of huge amounts. And then put like a really cool cosmetic in there. So like that's the slippery slope we're in. Like this is like, you test the waters. Blizzard's gonna get all this backlash from this bundle. They've tested the waters, and then like 2 weeks later, people are gonna forget about it, and they're gonna be like, okay, that worked really well. Everybody bought the $65 bundle. Let's do like a $30 bundle with the same idea, and let's just keep doing that. I mean, companies do bundles all the time, so it's not like this is the first time. But this one's so egregious to me.
Yeah.
That I'm like, this is testing the waters.
It's a lot. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but I don't get the sense that like the Diablo 4 cash shop is like super popular. I don't
know.
I don't get the sense that people have bought a lot of stuff in it. There are some cool cosmetics in there. I've looked through it a couple of times, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. I'm not going to pay $15 for it, but it's pretty cool. I like that cosmetic.
Yeah.
But I don't get the sense that their cash shop is very popular. Again, I could be completely wrong about that, but that's just the sense that I get, that they're not making a whole lot of money on it. But
yeah,
we'll see.
I wouldn't be surprised too. I don't think cosmetics in Diablo are as effective as something like League of Legends or Overwatch. I just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the player interaction you have in Diablo compared to League, Overwatch, and whatever. Like, in every League and Overwatch game, you're playing against somebody. There's a full game. There's a lot more centered around the skins at times. I mean, Diablo skins do have like cool effects, I'm sure, but how often are you interacting with players outside of a world boss? You might team up with a player for a dungeon, but like if you're going near a player in the open world, they're zooming right by you.
Yeah, you just run right by them.
There's a zoom. They're gone. You know, it's very rare for me that I'm observing the player and the character's skin that the player has on, the cosmetic, compared to like in League and Overwatch and stuff. Like I noticed it's more obvious, like it's closer, the camera's closer because I can see it in Overwatch. But in League, I don't know, it's more obvious. The interaction between players is there's more time to interact. So I think that's why Diablo's shop. If it wasn't as successful, I wouldn't be surprised. Because like, well, you don't interact with players enough. I think that's just the issue I see. In a way that like you would stop and take notice of it. They're just zooming by on the horse to me. Anyway, my point is I wouldn't be surprised if you're right if it's not doing well.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Blizzard some more. This is a very long thread, by the way. If you actually got through it, you know, you'd see just how frustrating the corporate environment can be sometimes, and just people they'll gaslight you, give you some, they're not helping you, they don't care about you as much as they would lead you to believe, and then they'll just turn things around on you like it's your fault. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, no, like I'm a person, maybe treat me like one for this instance. So this person had been at Blizzard, and it seemed like there was some I don't remember exactly, but there was a they had to wait to post this. They were working with Team 4 with the Overwatch 2 team, and he was looking to get a promotion into lead VFX artist for the cosmetics team, which I actually think is like probably a pretty big deal in the company, considering like this is like a huge part of Overwatch, actually, like outside of the gameplay loop. So I had only been there 6 months, and I told them basically, if you're sure, you know, yeah, I'd love the opportunity. Wanted to be on the same page on the role. So there was some conversations that were had amongst other people that would be likely working together, all happy, and started the job immediately. All the same responsibilities that you had as a senior, becoming a line manager of 3 people immediately, managing an outsourced team, additional lead stuff. Okay, so there's some announcements of the promotion. There's some like something goes on with one of the managers. I'm gonna start skipping ahead a little bit, because at one point this basically is just, this is where I want to get to down here actually. So he's basically taking on more work is kind of what happened. He's taking on more work, and he's figuring out, wait a second, I'm making half the amount of other lead VFX artists at Blizzard, and his salary is lower than the person he's managing, which that's wild that happened. And this is another reason, by the way, why people job hop because if they don't, the company is not incentivized to give you more money, actually, unless you're getting like a major promotion. But even then, like, you can see it, person got promoted and is still being paid less. Ask if it's ethically okay to pay me 50% of the other person. Why would we pay you more than we have to? That doesn't make any business sense. Yeah, there you go. This is HR, by the way. HR's whole fucking job is to work with people.
Yeah, it's human resources. They're supposed to support.
That's their whole job.
Yeah, that's a joke.
And so he's like being overworked, not being paid well, waiting for a promotion. And then at one point he's like thinking and figuring out this promotion, and they're like, "It is in this call that HR asked me what promotion. I have no idea what you're talking about." they're just they're just like lying, gaslighting,
Just gaslighting him.
just like what the heck. You seem to be confused. There's no promotion. Leadership is a lateral move. It's just a change of responsibilities. There's no pay increase. What? Obviously there was some anger at this point. There's another part I want to skip to. So here it is. So I handed my resignation. He's very angry. But it doesn't end there. HR told me that because of my role as lead, I had gained inexplicable knowledge that would put me at a business risk to work anywhere else. So they are activating a non-compete clause that restricts me from working anywhere at all for 3 months. I don't think anywhere at all is actually, it's more like anywhere within the same vertical. So probably no other game company. So we can't work for another game dev, publish, whatever, I'm sure, is what it actually is. Which is super obviously ridiculous to do. Like, it's super ridiculous to be like, we're going to enact this clause. By the way, just as a side note, this is not like, companies do this all the time, even before you jump on the board. Google, I actually know this firsthand because I worked with somebody who got a job at Google, and he was doing work for me at one point. Mm-hmm. He told me that when he got the job at Google, he said, Google's contract specifically states, even if I'm not in the office, any work I do could be their property. It is now their IP. So if he's at home working on a project and they figure it out, it's theirs now. Which I'm like, that's not how that should work.
That's nonsense.
Google has it specifically in their contracts. When you join the company, they're like, oh yeah, if you do a project, it's ours. Not even on the company property. It's very common.
Or during work hours.
Yeah, it's like during work hours, company whatever, they're like, it's ours, which that's a normal company thing. But they're like, when you're doing your own projects, it's ours too. And I was like, what?
I don't see how that's legal in the slightest.
He told me that, and he was like, I don't think I can help you anymore. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, Google says that everything's theirs if I start working on other projects. I'm like, what the frick? So I'm just saying, like, this actually isn't that surprising to me that companies do this kind of thing. Companies are very bad about this stuff. Like, very bad is an understatement, actually. So this is paid 3 months, right? You can't stop someone from working at all for 3 months without paying. No, you resigned. They didn't fire him and give a severance. If he resigned, they don't have to deal with any of that shit. I said I can't survive for 3 months without pay. Mortgage looked me in the eye and said, well, you probably shouldn't have signed the contract then. Wow. Probably should have signed the contract then. Wow. Locked out of Slack and email. That was it. Just bam, you're out. Yeah, so Blizzard sucks. Reading this stuff, you know, from my perspective, I'll just say reading this stuff to me is not, I'm not actually surprised that somebody gets treated like this. Particularly at Blizzard. Blizzard's company environment sounds like the worst in every aspect, it seems like. And also, but there's another part of me that also is like, you want to just be like, okay, I just want to uninstall everything Blizzard related and just never touch it again. Because you just get so frustrated. And it's very hard to take the moral high ground on games and companies, by the way. It's super hard to take the moral high ground on this stuff. Just as a final note. I won't go into detail why that I feel that way, but it is super frustrating to read stories like this. And my first thought is, yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised the company did that. That sounds very, very by the books of like, well, we're gonna treat him like shit, and we can get somebody to replace him.
I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to go super like political here, but this is the problem with like corporations and like what we're at right now, which I call end stage capitalism, which is just like corporations have all the power. They don't care about anybody. They don't care about their workers. All they care about is making money and enriching their shareholders. And there's no like guardrails or like any restrictions. I don't want to say any. That's probably not. I'm sure there are some restrictions.
There are
but,
some,
like, the
but
government does very little oversight on
Mhm.
these corporations and allows them to put like bullshit clauses like this in here and treat people like absolute shit and completely gaslight them.
Yep.
And
This is HR too. Like
I'm sorry, and yeah, it's HR who's supposed to be there like for you to help you, and that is obviously not the case.
nope, it's
Here.
not.
So, you know, I, I mean, that should be it should be illegal to put a clause in somebody. I mean, obviously the person should read their contract and should not sign it if there's something like that in there. But like at the same time, I think it should be illegal to put a clause like that in there where it's like, oh, if you resign, they can just activate this clause, which literally prevents you from working for 3 months because non-compete. I don't know. That's just nonsense. Like,
you can't. Yeah, it's like supposed to be. You can't compete in the same space. So like in this case, but his whole job is to work in game development. In this case, art, in VFX art. Like that's like his job. There's other VFX jobs out there, but like his whole training and work practice has been in gaming. So obviously if he's going to go get a next job, he's going to stay there. He's not going to jump to a different market necessarily. Unless like it made sense, I guess, but like so having a non-compete in certain cases really sucks. If you're a software engineer at a tech company, it actually doesn't matter. Like if you work at Uber and then you just jump to like a completely different company because you're just a software engineer, it doesn't have to be in the same market. So a non-compete for you doesn't affect you that much. But in this case, for this person, you're the lead VFX artist at a game company. Like, what are your options outside of game development if your entire training and focus for your job has been that market? In this case, gaming. There's really not a lot. I mean, like, I'm sure there is actually, but like realistically, it's not the same. So like, it's like being a game developer as an engineer. Like imagine if a game developer was told, we're activating your non-compete clause. You're the game coder. You can't work in the game development. Well, like what other coding are you going to do? Like regular coding, I guess, but like your whole training has been in coding for games. So that's your focus. Like a non-compete like that is really tough on you. It's just like that kind of stuff is the problem I have. Like a non-compete is more detrimental to a certain person than another. And in this case, it's very detrimental to them, obviously. Chris here. But for like a regular old software engineer at a tech company like Google, he's just going to hop to Apple.
Yeah.
What's the non-compete going to do? He's going to do nothing. The non-compete's going to do nothing. He's just going to hop right to Apple. And then when he's done with Apple, he's going to hop to the next big tech company. He's going to hop to DoorDash. And then he's going to hop to the next one. And every hop that they make is like a huge raise for their income. So it's like, it's so different for you, for each person. Like there's some like more general practices that having a non-compete has really hardly any effect on you. But like for this person, it's like, it's huge. It just, that's where the problem comes in for me. And the read the contract thing, yeah, go fuck yourself. Give me a break. I know we're supposed to read contracts, but like contracts are not necessarily written in such a way where a regular person can read them effectively.
Yeah, they're written in very like legalese type language, and they're hard to understand.
You're basically asking every person out there to go, okay, well now that I'm going to get a job, I better go find a lawyer to read this.
Hire a lawyer to interpret this contract.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's where that also frustrates me.
And that's fucking expensive. Like.
So.
Yeah, and you can't get the job if you don't sign it.
Exactly.
You can't tell them like, oh, I don't agree to this like one clause, and they're just gonna say, okay, then you don't get the job, and they're just gonna say, well,
they'll like you could try and negotiate, but they may not amend it. Like, well, we're not gonna amend it. So then you have to decide if you just want to take it or not. It's all extremely frustrating. My point is, it's all extremely frustrating, and for certain job types, activating a non-compete is crazy. Because it really affects you worse than just other jobs. Like, let's just be real. I just, yeah, it's extremely frustrating. The whole job thing and the whole company's influence. Companies have like an extreme amount of power. Not infinite power, but they have a lot. And the thing is, they can get away with stuff. Like they can get bad press and get away with stuff. Like, I mean, Blizzard had this whole thing with sexual harassment in the company, the Cosby room, all that. Yeah. They're probably doing better than ever. You can get, companies can overtake bad press at times. Not every company, but
yeah, no, I mean, honestly, what should happen when they have, when the bad press happens and it ends up finding that they like did something wrong, the state or federal government needs to just like hammer these companies with like, I'm not talking like, oh, 100 million, no, I'm like billions right. of dollar fines. Like, you need to hammer them, be like, do not do this,
right? Because like
you gotta hit them where it hurts, and it's big ass fine, just right. Big ass fines. Like,
giving Facebook,
like, no, we'll just take your money. Like,
yeah,
don't do this. Don't treat people like this. Don't be a shitty fucking company, right. Or we will hammer your ass, and we'll take a huge ass fine, which will probably hurt your stock. And yeah, just don't do this shit.
Yeah, because you can't, like, finding Facebook $500 million is nothing. They're just gonna be like, oh no, oh no, woe is us, and they just keep going. Anyway, Blizzard frustrates the hell out of me. They really do. I like their games, like I do, but man, they frustrate me.
They're a really shitty company.
Yeah, they are. They're shitty. That's why if I play their games, like for example, like a free-to-play game like Overwatch, I'm just not spending a penny on it. Like, I mean, playing the game is probably just good for them anyway. But yeah. I mean, I was just like, I'm just not paying anything for it right now. Okay.